Mr. Belmar.
Mr. Brett.
This is going to be so much fun.
The Brett way.
There's so much they don't know, bro.
Oh, bro, so much we don't know.
I don't know. I feel like every time we talk, I walk away with like a whole new perspective. One of the few people where like so consistently, so efficiently, you can just like change my opinions just like that. So we have a lot to share.
Yes, bro.
I want to start with what the people want to hear. What cryptocurrency am I buying today to make $1 million tomorrow?
Okay, so first, bro, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah.
Like it's been an honor kind of seeing you scale. I remember seeing you had 9,000 followers, 1,000 subs, had nothing on Twitter. Is like seeing you become one of the leading people in Web3 when it comes to education and teaching people, and mad respect to you, but I've seen you the whole way, and I look forward to kind of what you're going to do. So being here is an honor. And then to answer your question, right now what I want to invest in is projects that have established companies, right, behind them that have known founders and that have the potential to disrupt multiple industries because they're already kind of behemoths, whether through cash flow or their positioning in the market. For example, finance, right? I would be a big investor in BNB coin, not at these prices right now, but to be observant of it. And I want to be betting not only on projects, but on people, right? Because you want to be rallying behind the best of the best. And that was kind of my investment strategy throughout 2020, when I put my entire net worth into crypto, was focusing on the people that were behind the thing. Not do I like the token? Do I like the community? No. Is the founder somebody that I can rely on to make my support of him more valuable, right? And a person that can actually disrupt the industry. So I voted on CZ through PancakeSwap and through BNB, and it paid off.
Do you think these tokens are going to be used? Like people are buying these tokens to actually use these types of tokens, like FTX?
It's more so betting on the fact that that token will be utilized massively in an ecosystem. So for example, in the Binance Smart Chain, a lot of stuff happens with BNB, just like on Ethereum, we use ETH. I prefer in some way, shape, or form the Binance Smart Chain because of how efficient and quick it is. Mm-hmm. I haven't been, transacting a whole lot right now recently with the Ethereum blockchain after the merge, just because I haven't been DeFi lately. I've been traveling, so I haven't seen if there have been any meaningful updates. There probably have been, so I'll do my due diligence and come back to you on that one. But I like the Binance Smart Chain and the projects that are being built on there. So once again, nothing is truly decentralized, right? So when we talk about living in a decentralized metaverse, right, you're on centralized servers. You're most likely utilizing a computer that has a security system that is centralized, or a device that is centralized, or if you're in certain countries, your internet is centralized. Even your ability to not access certain websites. You see OpenSea banning countries able to access their website because of where they live. That shows you that even the decentralized Web3, exactly. So this idea of a specific token right now, I don't really know, but I would be more so looking at winners, as in a group of people or individual that can carry kind of like the what do you call it? The baton.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best advice.
Yeah.
I don't really care about coin. I'm more on the NFT side, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's all a bet, and I think that's going to be one of the hardest industries to disrupt. All the powers that be. We're not going to let this happen quick. So the NFT side can be used such more widely and so much more depth individually. So people don't know how deep you've been in the game for so long. You really don't talk about this.
I don't. And you know what? I love crypto so much because of what it represents. In some way, shape, or form, it's elusive, because I really believe that the forces that be have already been in crypto for a long time. In fact, I even maybe agree that they allow certain things to happen to push their own narratives or agendas, like central bank digital currencies. But I started buying Bitcoin in 2016. I say I got into crypto in 2017 because that's when I became like a crypto guy. Mm-hmm. But in 2016, I was buying Bitcoin when it was $200, $300, $400. So at that point, I was waiting tables. That was kind of when my life changed instantly from 2016 to 2017. I started drop shipping, started e-commerce. It just took off in a very interesting manner. But in 2016, I was waiting tables in the beginning. It was January or 2015, late 2015, something like that. And the tips, that I would receive from that day, I would go to the ATM deposit. It would be instant deposit cash. I would go on an exchange called Bitstamp, and I would basically buy XRP because I was bamboozled by the whole XRP
That was
narrative.
my biggest bag in 2017.
And then I would buy Bitcoin and a little bit of ETH, and that was when it was a couple $100 and stuff like that. So
XRP had a bigger market cap than ETH.
correct, yeah. So the flip, right, the switching in 2017 was a big deal. But I made money. You know, I think I had like 160x in 2017, but I wrote a lot of it down. And then I was like, okay, this is going to happen again. It happened repeatedly. So I was like, my goal now is I need to make a ton of money. So I got into e-commerce. We did, I think, 16 million in 2019, and we rolled over all of our profits in 2020 into crypto. And in the last 2 years, we 40x'd our portfolio, and yeah, we cashed out of all of our assets of Ethereum at 3,950, and out of all of our Bitcoin investments at 55,000. And we shorted Luna as well at $1.06 with $50,000 short. It was a $2.9 million short in 5 days. So we've been doing quite well. And now, like I said, bro, if you focus on winners, like people, and bet on people, not the bullshit of like Daniel Sistelli and this entire WAGMI culture, meme culture. That stuff doesn't really, it's trendy. It'll have its spikes, but it won't last. So you need to be able to rally behind people that are serious and people that have backing. Unfortunately, from the forces that kind of control the world, you need to be able to play the game. And finding those people that are willing to play the game and investing behind that is a good strategy.
Okay, that's a fast come up story because now you're living in the neighborhood of some of these founders.
Yeah.
So you've done pretty damn well.
So I did really, really well, and I would attribute it all to education, like educating myself throughout the bear
You're always
market.
hitting me up. Like, I'm reading this book this week. You said you were reading like a book a day, bro.
So book every 3 days. It's because
Okay.
if you read 100 pages a day, which isn't a lot, like nobody can tell me that it's unrealistic to read 100 pages a day. It might take a person 2-3 hours. You might have to be dedicated, but when you learn how to read properly, you could read 100 pages in 2 hours.
It's painful for people when they're on TikTok all day.
Yeah,
instant dopamine
exactly.
to sit
Like,
down,
you could.
slow.
I could debate that you in 2.5 hours you could read 100 pages and do it well and understand what you're doing, and in 3 days go through a size book and do that repeatedly. And you don't have to do it your entire life. Maybe you do it for 3 months, but think about how ahead you would be of your entire competition. It would be unbelievable.
Your habits too. Like you
Yeah,
are
dude, for sure.
These are the things that people don't speak about, but what you eat, what you put in your mind, how focused you are on education, how focused you are on surrounding yourself with the best people, all of that adds up to like making faster decisions, better decisions with better information.
And even for like a lot of people in crypto, they glorify this idea of like, they eat the Uber Eats and all this stuff. And okay, I get it, it's cool. But at the end of the day, it'd be dope if you imagine if your life was optimized, and optimized lives result in optimized outcomes. So if everything that you do is designed to yield a positive result, do those things. And so many people self-sabotage, especially in crypto when you're on your computer all day and you're degenning. You can be turning around right there, eating proper food without eating bullshit. You can do some push-ups, you can do some sit-ups, and just go back to doing your grind. And that'll give you lifespan longevity, which is going to allow you to kind of be able to enjoy your money if you make it. You don't want to be a fat slop and dead.
Being around you this weekend, you take that so serious, and it's paying off clearly.
Bro.
Okay, so this is where I want to get like into your deep, I guess not conspiracy mind, but I want to get your take on it because I am like so imaginative and creative. I love to think about NFT strategies, how they're going to be used everywhere in the world, big brands, governments, or whatever. So South Korea just announced that in 2024, they're making every single one of their digital, like their driver's license, blockchain-backed NFTs for every single one of their citizens in 2 years. They're going to like have huge economic benefits. All the administrative like cost of people like checking your ID at the airport or checking your ID at a pharmaceutical company, liquor store. You can buy liquor online now if it's age restricted. You connect your wallet, they can verify your age. So there's going to be like, they think they can save 13% of their GDP.
Yeah, but what are they giving up?
So
it's not about what you get, but what you have to sacrifice in order to get that. People sacrifice freedom for convenience. So at one point you have to figure out where you draw the line. And unfortunately, technology advances so fast that you can't necessarily create the necessary infrastructure to sustain certain levels of power and for technology and things of this kind. But dude, imagine this. Imagine you're connected to the blockchain and everything that you do is by access, because that's what it is, by access. This thing gives you access. So you're restricting yourself to the access. What happens, okay, let's say 100 years go by and this digital access is good because everything works and you just happen to have a good government, but somehow within some way, shape, or form, like it happens in history, you get a bad government, right? What happens when they take over that technology? Now that technology allows for what? The restriction of what? Your access. So you don't have to be thinking about the best case scenario. Let's say it happens 95% of the time, but what happens with the 5% of the time? Because that 5% of the time yields thousands of years of slavery, not just 50 years. Look at China, dude. They are introducing the credit system. They're introducing like face tracking recognition that basically tickets you. So when I go to Shanghai in 2019, I'm like literally walking down the street and it blinks red, and like the road when you're trying to cross the crosswalk. And I look over and there's a big panel, and in that big panel there's a screen that showing basically in Chinese that scan people's faces, they identify it through your ID, and they ticket you directly to your house, right? By jaywalking.
2019?
Yeah, by
for
jaywalking. For jaywalking. So they track your face and then they associate it to your identification, your address, and they send you a ticket for jaywalking because they see that you exist there. So, okay, the technology is cool because it optimizes people not having liberty, but damn, should you be ticketed for jaywalking? And that's where the things gets really tricky. And people are like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Okay, that's fine, but what if, right? So if we can prevent it, dope. If we can't prevent it, I'll just move to places where potentially that infrastructure doesn't exist and operate from that location. So I have that location freedom, and that's kind of extremely important when it comes to navigating places that have a lot of control.
A really fine line.
Dude, look at what happened with Canada with the truckers and freezing their bank accounts and their crypto wallets and their crypto exchanges. What the fuck, guys? This is crypto. Oh yeah, but we have to comply with it. Okay, centralized. Nothing different, just a different title.
I think the decentralization, it's
like,
idealistic.
what's the difference between sending somebody Bitcoin, okay, in theory, not whether the currency has more value, intrinsic value or not, or a dollar, right? Via Venmo or via the blockchain. Like, does it really matter if I send you USDT or Venmo? No. So in that case, the blockchain isn't really valuable. Bitcoin is valuable because it is decentralized in some way, shape, or form. You can't decentralize the value or the manipulation in it, but you can transact through it in a fairly anonymous way, especially if you introduce that anonymous way in physical exchanges, right? And I think that that's what's going to start happening with Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is going to start moving like actual cash, which is a theory that I have. People, when bro, this is my theory. This is why Bitcoin is going to be so valuable, and I don't think this is a theory that people have really caught on to. As money becomes more less valuable, right? There's a reason that micro Bitcoins or pieces of Bitcoins are called Satoshis, right? Because I genuinely believe that as Bitcoin increases in value, I don't know what it'll end up at, but I think it'll be worth a couple $1 million. Why? Because it's not that Bitcoin will be more valuable. It'll be that the US dollar will be less valuable. Therefore, the price in correlation to the value of the dollar.
So it could still have the same buying power as today, but
Correct.
be worth millions of dollars.
Correct. And I'm not saying that that'll happen. I think it'll increase in demand because I think it is popular, and I think it has the potential to disrupt. But people are going to start transacting Satoshi in person. The most untraceable way of transacting money.
How's that work? Like just
pen driving.
phone to phone?
Having a pen drive that is worth 50 Satoshis.
Okay, yeah.
Boom, 50 Satoshis. Transacted,
just
done.
Passing USB sticks.
And I think that that's how we're going to be transacting in a way that is going to be untraceable when the actual physical cash is gone. And that's when I think Bitcoin will become valuable. That is my
It's like
theory.
a full circle there.
That is my
That's
theory.
how it started almost.
Yeah,
That's what
that is my
Bitcoin's
theory.
main use case was.
I know people haven't heard that theory because it's something I've kind of been pondering, but I think it's a potential additive to the value of what Bitcoin's going to be, because that's how I'm going to use Bitcoin, because that's how I know certain people in the neighborhoods, like you said, that I live in, right? You have access to different data sets and different information. That's how a lot of them transact.
Makes so much sense. Like that's going to be the new drug dealing for value, transfer of value. Okay. So I'm
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, you got so many things. We could talk for hours about conspiracy theories or where we think the world's going. But on that note, you were early to drop shipping. You were early to e-com. You killed it. That's where you kind of made your first bag, and then you rolled it over to crypto. So for me, we all kind of lived that make money online niche phase in 2017, 2018, 2019, where everybody was like talking about drop shipping. It was the big opportunity. And the earlier you were, the better you did. Do you see something like that happening for Web3 as a service agencies?
100%. We were talking about it, right? And this is just major alpha, because people, if they understand this, they're going to really be able to capitalize on it. Is people are in the business of creating communities in Web3. Maybe it's not about creating Web3 communities. Maybe what you have to go and do is service Web2 communities with Web3 products. So go find existing communities. For example, I'm going to give you guys some major alpha, and I'll give you guys a story because I just happen to be a G and I'm just extremely nice.
That's what we're here for.
So I was sitting in Lyon, France. I told you this story. I was going to go snowboard in the Swiss Alps, but I wanted to pit stop there because there's a really good pasta restaurant that I like to go to. So we were there, and I was sitting in the plaza where all the skateboarders are. And I was like, okay, so all the skateboarders are here, and I just spend probably 30 minutes watching them. All of them falling, hurting themselves, hitting themselves, skateboard to the shin, bumping against the metal, bumping against the concrete, bumping against each other, smashing skateboards, falling. And every once in a while, they land a trick, and everybody celebrates them. And they're in the business of like becoming better, right? So they already have sacrifice and the wherewithal. It's a community that goes through trouble. They're kind of like the underdog, so they're very resilient. You want to find a resilient community. And I was like, wow, imagine they had a Web3 product, like an access pass that gave them access to meetups around the world. And somebody organized skateboard meetups, right, in this city and in this city. And if you bought an NFT, and it didn't have to be expensive, $20, right? It would give you access to all the parks in every single place in the world, and you could go and skate in those places. Right, just that alone, you've created a community, and what have you done? You've created a technology that allows you to contribute and create a what I call an internet tribe. And there's a guy called Jordan Green, I believe, or Jordan Greenhall, something like that, and he talks about the theory of tribal formations in the internet. That right now everything is so macro, and people are kind of they feel too disconnected from reality. They have no community. That now things are going to start being dissected and broken down into tribes, which is what Web3 is going to do. Is going to bring a lot of tribes together. So a lot of people want this idea of everything needs to be Bored Ape Yacht Club. Everything needs to be on the Rolling Stones cover. No, that is just an anomaly that just happened to be a pop culture bonanza, but that's not the average community. So the average community is going to be tight-knit, and you can build your own little ecosystem that is self-sustaining and that is profitable and that is a good environment where people can do whatever it is that that community is supposed to do in an effective way, and still be successful. So I think people need to start considering that, and those are my opinions regarding. Yeah,
and quick, just so everyone understands, because we might not have all Web3 natives. All the NFT does is just, if you have this NFT in your wallet, you get access to the group.
Correct.
If you don't have the NFT, you get denied. It's called token gating.
That's it.
It's frictionless.
That's
it's
it.
Automatic. And so every single community.
For example, we went to the Jake Paul fight. The ticket shit was the most annoying.
You're just sitting there.
Nonsense. Figuring out where you're going to sit, how you're going to sit, where are the passes. Okay, this pass belongs to you. This pass belongs to you. I couldn't okay, I'm going to take a photo of this, send it to this person. Take a photo of this, send it to this person. Take a photo. It's so terrible, so annoying. Oh, well, now you can't get back in. That's what they would tell you. Okay, so I can only go in once. Why? Because they can't validate whether a person owns it or it's a screenshot. But being on the blockchain, you can actually validate what you own. So having instances like that where you reduce friction without reducing freedom, right, I think are extremely beneficial.
And what we saw, I mean, there's so many examples of that. That's just the ticketing industry.
Correct.
That's going to happen in every different industry. And this kind of run that everyone knows about NFTs now was just kind of like the art world's renaissance, and they woke up to NFT technology. That's going to happen in real estate in its own bubble. That's going to happen in every other industry independently of each other. And it might take 5 years for some, 10 years for others. Art is now. But even then, the beginning of this was just NFT communities. These were communities all around. There's only like a few 100,000 people that know about NFTs.
Dude, but the same thing with NFTs, for example. People think that NFTs need to be a virtual thing. Just like Satoshi's, NFTs on physical items, right? And
Nike's doing it with shoes.
Exactly. So I think NFTs are going to merge into the real world a lot better. And what is going to happen is the winning companies are the ones that are going to build a front UI experience that enables people to use the blockchain with no friction, right? So you see Shopify. I'm a big investor in Shopify. I have about 10% of my net worth in Shopify, which is a lot. And I just bought in recently, like literally a couple of days ago. I put in a ton of money because it was undervalued, and my investment is already up 40%, which is pretty good on spot. So I'm really happy with Shopify. Anyways, they're building a really good front UI experience for NFT technology, right? So I think that they're going to compete really well with that. You have OpenSea. For as much garbage as
they're going to play together. Yeah. Shopify's going to make it. Every brand that we talk to, they want their own marketplace. Yeah. Make more royalties. It's branded and it's seamless. It can be a centralized email password. They have their own marketplace. If someone just wants the product, they can buy an NFT on their marketplace.
Correct.
But if you care about the decentralized ownership, then it's going to go to an aggregator like OpenSea. So it's kind of like Amazon and eBay. Typically, you buy an item.
You're going to have your options.
Exactly.
You're going to have your options. But I think people that kind of build that ecosystem, that experience for people to have a seamless way to interact with blockchain are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, we say it all the time. The future of NFTs is not knowing you're buying an NFT, right? Like, you just know that you get the benefits. You own this thing on the internet now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Everything on the internet right now is just rented. Like, there is not really an option to ever buy or own a digital item.
Yeah, you basically go and you buy the rights to
like
an Instagram or meme page, right? And you now own the company of that, and with that you own the Instagram page. But Instagram shuts down that meme page. Now what happens? You lost half of your business, right? So you're operating at the mercy of what we know to be a now super censoring media, right? Which it's unfortunate. Which that's why we keep the big boy topics for in person. But yeah, dude, that's kind of like my train of thought. You need to be able to build that UI experience in the front end. Whoever can do it effectively, both in a centralized and a decentralized way as well, is going to succeed.
It's always going to be a blend. I mean, decentralization is a spectrum, but we need guardrails for the everyday person. Like, people are used to chargebacks, Amazon instant returns. I don't think a full self-custody world is realistic. So I really do think
I don't think so either. People are too stupid. It's unfortunate to say, but look how many people just get scammed by
all the Bored Ape holders, especially.
Yeah, dude. Bro. Well, it's just everybody, dude. It's not easy. Technology is moving really fast, and that means that your cybersecurity. Like, look at everybody. Everybody has a computer. Everybody has their camera enabled on their phone. Everybody has their location turned on. Nobody cares about their privacy, right? So all these people talking about blockchain decentralized. Their entire life is centralized. Everybody has a bank account. They all use their Amex cards. They're all using Uber. They're all using Airbnb, and everything on their life is centralized. So if you want to truly live a decentralized life, you're gonna have to live in a cave somewhere.
And this is my problem with a lot of people in Web3 and in the NFT space. A year ago, I was like sipping the Kool-Aid way too hard. Web3 values to its core, but you have to just be realistic with how most people are going to interact with the world, what they're used to, but still get most of the benefits. Digital asset ownership. That's what's important. And I'm going to go on record. I 100% think that Web3 as a service, if you can figure out how to make NFTs for companies, even mid-level companies, low-level companies in 3 or 4 years, it's going to be that whole social media marketing age, that whole make money online trend that Tai Lopez kicked off all again. And so if anybody wants to get in at the ground level, start thinking about how to integrate Web3.
Or first is get good at Web3.
Exactly.
And become a person like
Go through
yourself,
the process.
or like myself, that understands how the space works, and you start building a reputation where what you say actually matters. And if you're building products based off of kind of those values, people will recognize it, and you can build meaningful businesses, and with that yield the values and the returns that come with that. So I think people can really start planning for the next 2-3 years. I don't think 2023 is going to be pretty.
No.
I think the market's going to be very sideways and very like shitty, like sideways downtrending. Right now we have a little bit of a balance with Bitcoin. I don't think it means anything. But I think we go into one more cycle with crypto before kind of the introduction of central bank digital currencies that I think will be kind of introduced between 2030 and 2050 throughout different institutions, different countries. So we have about 10, 20, 30 years to get super, super rich and influential enough to own our own little land and do our own thing, not be bothered.
How do you even prepare yourself for that if you're just an everyday person?
You just start picking up some books.
Like, just make money? Is that like the sole goal?
No, well, figure out what money is.
Okay.
Once you figure out what money is, figure out why it matters, and then change the relationship in how you view money. People view money the wrong way. People view money as just like a return for, it's like they view it as a prize or something that they own, they hold. Money is simply energy, right? It has the ability to perform or do something in your return. Money doesn't really have any value. It's just value that's attributed because somebody's falling under the same belief system that you are, but it doesn't hold any intrinsic value. It's all based off of one single thing: trust, right? So the US dollar is solely based off of trust. We were doing the Capital Club event in Albania, and we were sitting down with the head of the central bank of Albania. His name was Fulani, by Mr. Fulani, and he was the guy that signs the money in Albania. And I asked him 3 questions. The first, I asked him, do central banks run the world? And he said, well, I can't tell you what I think, but what I can tell you is what JP Morgan said, which is somewhere along the lines of whoever owns the money owns the world. So he just giggled, and that's the first thing he said. The second question I asked him, I said, is Bitcoin money? Remember, mind you, I asked the head of the Central Bank of Albania, central bank, right, is Bitcoin money? And he was like, we started kind of debating a little bit back and forth about it. And, money needs to be a store of value. It needs to be trustworthy. It needs to be a means of exchange. So we went through kind of the list of what money has to have, the attributes of money in order to qualify to be money. And he was like, Bitcoin is money. That was his conclusion. And then the third one was this whole Agenda 2030, Great Reset, will it happen? And we introduce central bank digital currencies into the ecosystem of the world? And he said, yes, hands down, it's going to happen, and it needs to happen. And they kind of have a philosophy of, like the Industrial Revolution of steel and steam and automation. They are if you actually study it, it was a very harsh change, right? It was a very harsh political change. It wasn't like a happy thing. Yeah, it wasn't a happy thing. It was like a forced, abrupt revolution, like it is now. So there's a revolution that's coming, and it's basically this idea and this philosophy and this worldview that we have to research. So whatever that means, people can do their research and figure out kind of what that looks like. So I think that people kind of got to be looking at a lot of different aspects here, G.
Where do you even find that information?
You can't find it on a .gov website. You can't find it on a bullet point list. You have to do your research and start piecing things together. It's going to take a lot of self-awareness and a lot of understanding that many of the things that you believe were written and are merely opinions by other people, and that those opinions can be influenced.
The food pyramid's like the biggest,
food pyramid's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
The food, and for example, we were told Cheerios were like the greatest thing ever for your heart and cholesterol. Right, yeah. And now they had some sort of crazy lawsuit and the FDA just stated that Cheerios are not healthy, right? So they were healthy up until 3 months ago. Now they're no longer healthy, right? So what happened? Nothing happened. It's just a bunch of garbage. And you need to kind of have that perspective where people can lie to you with the information.
Your best interest is not.
Yeah, it's not always in people's
in line
interest.
with their bottom line. Yeah.
So people don't care. And we've seen that in crypto repeatedly, right? All these people that promise that they love you, community, wag me, then they end up screwing you over. So you're in that situation, and it's not a great situation to be in. So you have to be aware and kind of alert. That's why you kind of have to have that little tribe that kind of keeps you protected.
How many people do you think in one tribe?
I think,
like, what's a good number?
I think, well, it depends. I think if you can have a group of like 10 to 50 people that you can really, really trust, or a group of like 300, which is what we're building actually. 300 just like people that you can rely on in different industries, different niches. I think that's all you need. You don't need millions of followers. You just need 300 dudes that'll go to war for you and that manage different sectors that you can trust fully, and that you operate in the syndicate in that manner. And you can, dude, think about it. Think about this, okay? 300 dudes. Everybody nets $1 million a year, which is super easy to do. Now you have a network that's worth $300 million in its first year. How powerful is that? The next year, it's worth 600. In 10 years, you have a $3 billion network. That's with no appreciation of assets. It's just your income generated. Tell me that's not possible. Now, dude, I'm teaching people here how you can build syndicates that are powerful, and everybody can still own like a percentage. You start building trusts and shares and holdings companies. How do you think the rich people operate? They're operating in this manner. Okay, everybody putting $100 million in this fund. Let's grow it together. Let's do some business deals. Let's do whatever. And they start moving money that way. You need to be able to move in a group, because when you're with a lot of people, you can multiply a lot quicker. So people need to find the network that they trust, the people that they trust, and NFTs can be a gateway to that.
I mean, you see how conversations, even at our level, go down in Web3 space or wherever it may be, and it's really no different at the top, I'm sure.
They've
just been doing it together for decades.
It really is not.
It's really powerful, and it can easily balloon. So we talked about XRP earlier, and I want to get your opinion on this because my partner is a big XRP believer. And so this was my biggest bag in 2017. It was all the rage. Why did they get a lawsuit on them? We might not want to be able to talk about this.
I can go into it. I can tell you what my theory is.
On top of this, corporate blockchains. The idea of like Hedera, Stellar.
I think this will get picked up because your channel is pretty big. So this is my theory on why XRP received the lawsuit from the SEC. I think a lot of the heads of the SEC, prior and current, were seed investors in Ethereum. That they participated in the ICO of Ethereum. Therefore, they have a vested interest in seeing Ethereum succeed as the main blockchain. And the thing that you had kind of seen right now is, what is one of the biggest holders of Ethereum across the entire world? A company called Consensus. Consensus owns MetaMask. Okay, so they're super centralized. And now we're in a scenario where we're no longer proof of work, but we're proof of stake, which means what? Whoever owns the most Ethereum and stakes the most Ethereum owns the most nodes, therefore has the most voting power. And who owns that? Consensus, the guys that co-created Ethereum. So it's a very centralized network. And who owns and co-invested in Consensus? JP Morgan or Chase Bank or a bunch of banks, I don't know, HSBC, I don't remember exactly which ones. So you're in a scenario right now where, dude, like, banks are still, they got their hand in the game, they're playing their game. So I think it's a dirty play. That's my opinion, but I think XRP wins the lawsuit. The problem is, in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, it just wasn't a good investment. It's not whether they have the potential to do or not do something, but if you had your money on anything else, Dogecoin, you would have made more money, right? So you got to play the game at its current moment. You can't be religious about things. You got to be able to bounce around where the liquidity is. You got to be able to move where the money is, and just the money wasn't flowing into XRP because it just wasn't a good investment at the time.
I've never heard that stance. I've had the opinion that XRP built like a really disrupting tech, and the powers that be wanted to slow it down. Put them into litigation, didn't let any of the consumers buy.
XRP is completely part of the system, 100%. They're going to be using that with ECB. They're going to be using that, which is the European Central Bank. I think they'll use it with the Bank of International Settlements. I think XRP has great technology. I think it's going to be extremely useful, and they use it a lot already outside of America, right? So in Japan and South Korea, they don't care, right? What the SEC says, they'll continue using it. So whether it works or not in America doesn't really matter. It'll work in other places, and it can still be worth $1 trillion without being in America, right? Like many other companies. So they're super in deep with the banks, and I think that they're going to win the lawsuit. But I think it's some sort of rivalry, some sort of competition there for who's going to be running the network for transactions and payments.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because it's not a currency. Settles bank transactions. So we've been a while. So I want to end off with more NFT questions.
Okay.
Really two sides of it. One, what does the NFT space have wrong right now?
The NFT space has wrong a few things. The first one is that the first relationship that people have with a project or with a group of founders is transactional. So when you establish a foundation of a relationship based off of transaction, then what else is going to happen in your relationship beyond everything being focused on transaction? Everything is going to be false. Why? Because you've given that person something. Now you're expecting something back. You're expecting your return to be worth higher. I don't know what sort of delusion it is that causes this. It is disgusting. From both sides, that founders are forced to say, hey, it's going to be a good investment in like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. What are you guys even talking
about?
What
can you possibly do?
People will ruin projects in 3 days. Mm-hmm. Just wreck
the holders are relentless, bro.
Just wreck them. And it's like, okay, so you want great products, you want great people, but you're scaring the talent because of your behavior, right? So people complain about getting scammed, right? Let's talk about which one was the NFT project that was this.
That was a scam?
That was a big, like Pixel World.
Pixelmon, yeah.
Yeah, so Pixelmon.
They got acquired, you know.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Crazy.
So you have Pixelmon in a situation right here where people are giving $70 million to an anonymous founder.
Kid.
And it's an anonymous dude. Like, what do you expect? Mm-hmm. You gave this anonymous dude that you don't know, that on the other side just put out tweets and some art, and you trusted him with millions of dollars. Like, the delusion is unbelievable.
Take some accountability there.
Yeah,
like,
there's risk. Mm-hmm. There's risk in that gamble. So people get upset. Oh, well, you owe a refund. Oh, all this stuff. Like, dude, relax. Like, you are playing the roulette here. And if you assume that there's not going to be any bad actors, then you don't really understand the world. Because guess what?
I think you just
all you need is a fucking, little Dell computer, and now you're in a situation where any person anywhere around the world can hop on a VPN, hop through a Tor browser, open up a Twitter account, post some images, open up a smart contract, and sell $50,000 worth of garbage nonsense, and it'll sell out instantly. So what do you expect? People are not to do that. People are going to do it. They want the fast, easy money.
I don't even think he was like that malicious. Like, yes, he used FOMO tactics and with their mint structure, Dutch auction, whatever. But I really just think he didn't have the skill set. It's a 19-year-old kid. You think he's going to make the next Pokemon?
Oh, I'm not even talking about Pixelmon. I'm talking about more so in general, just kind of the culture that's behind it. It's so toxic.
Doodles. They're facing this right now because they made like $50 million off their project. Haven't really, like, what have they really done other than like making more NFTs? And they raised another $50 million. So, like, by the way, shout out to you because you texted me the day Doodles minted in a very slow time in the market.
I did tell you.
And I copped
at 0.8.
Hella, yeah. 0.8.
I bought 16 of them. Yeah. I bought 16 of them. I gave 2 away to my friend. I think I held about 12 of them. I've been holding since 0.8. I got in early with NFTs. I got in with Bored Apes at 4 ETH. I got in at Pudgy Penguins at basically mint day. And now I'm a co-investor in the company. Really, really cool. That was a really nice kind of 360.
Yeah.
Got into Doodles at 0.8. What else did I get into? I got into Azuki. I told everybody to put their mortgage on Azuki. That's about it.
Shout out to you I'm glad I'm on that text list because that made me a lot of money. Brandon flipped from 0.8 for 1.2 and he was stoked. So.
He's
living that life right now. Bro.
Sold. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good projects, and I've also lost a lot of money. So that's kind of the side that people don't talk about, which is a lot of these influencers that preach wag me. At the same time, they're out there to secure the bag and they're out there to make money. So you can't just feed off of the culture. You also have to understand that people that are founding companies, a lot of them are out here to get rich, and that's their nature. And you need to understand it, because that's the reality of the situation. Whether it sounds harsh or not, it's the reality. So yeah, there's some people that are out here to create and some people that are out here to impact, but it's not the majority. So I want to do great things, but at the same time, I want to get paid. You do things at the same time, you want to get paid for your time. We couldn't be able to do this unless we had money, and I was able to travel to come see you. It costs thousands of dollars. Like, it's not cheap. So you need money in order to do that. So we have to provide services and products and things of that nature. So I would say kind of people need to be more aware and not be the problem that they call out, because a lot of them are kind of just the problem themselves. So, dude, it's a great community. It's a great space. I love that you're pioneering it. I love that you're at the forefront of it, and I look forward to kind of joining you on that journey.
My guy, people don't know how deep you are because you never talk about it on the other pods, but I'm glad we can go a little deeper on this one. So, last thing, I guess, what does the NFT space have right? What do you think is going to translate? Talked about physicals.
Yeah.
Talked about communities. What else?
I think the tribal formations are going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think the physical products are going to be really big. And I think the validation of big items in an itemized manner are going to be big. I'll give you an example. I can't say the exact company, but it's a company that right now is introducing NFT technology to their Carfax, right? So it'll track everything about the car. So every time, how many times you've actually sat on the car, how many times the car has been turned on, how many times it's steered left and steered right. Everything about the car, true original Carfax of the car, will be imprinted on the blockchain through an NFT, right? So imagine having a Carfax that you own or a car title that you own. And I think that it's going to translate into these big things, not only the digitalization of validation, like validating small things, but as receipts of actual infrastructure. So I think it's really, really cool. So think about knowing every little thing about your car and being able to scroll through it on a portal.
Kind of like provenance.
Dude, like, on a portal that tells you, okay, you changed your oil 6 times and you changed it on this day and this is how much oil you actually put in. Yeah. Like, that would be super sick. So with that, once again, comes the other idea of the misuse of that technology for control and power and all these things, which that's always the struggle, right? The difficulty. Anytime any new...
They're going to do it under the guise of decentralized values.
Here's the thing. Every time a new technology has been introduced, people fight over it. They go to war over it. They kill over it. Gunpowder, salt, peppers, all these things.
Really?
Tulips. Dude, of course people killed themselves over these things. Gold. What value does gold truly have? Oh yeah, it has some properties, can be used, whatever, there, right? Yeah. So, but people still murdered each other over it. So, people will do the same thing over crypto. They'll do the same thing over all these things, and people just have to be careful.
Okay, last one. Do you think the existing companies like Carfax or Zillow are more likely to integrate NFTs and to dominate, or do you think Web3 startups like the Web3 version of Zillow is more likely to win?
I think Carfax and these big companies will hire out this department to
the Web3 agency,
Web3 companies, correct? To develop this stuff. So it won't just happen even, for example, people are like, the government has a $300 billion budget for infrastructure in New Mexico, which is a joke because the government doesn't invest shit in New Mexico anyway. But that money doesn't go, who builds it, right? Do you think it's some government employee? No, they hand out the contracts. They're like, here, $75 million to you, $80 million to you, build this in this way. Okay, somebody approves it. Somebody signs stamps, done. Dude, our boy got beat up yesterday. We were interacting with the cop. What did the cop take down? He was like, what's your date of birth? Dude, what the heck does my date of birth, me seeing it, and have to do with this guy like punching this other guy? It makes no sense, right? So the system is kind of useless. So you need to introduce more efficient ways to kind of manage society. And it's just kind of hoping that the people that kind of manage it don't abuse it. But every time, like I said, we see a new technology, we see abuse. So being able to move with flexibility where there is the most amount of freedom in the world is the best kind of route.
So well articulated, my friend. That's what you're known for. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to doing it again, and hopefully in Puerto Rico we should come out to the tax haven. We should maybe sit down with Peter Schiff.
That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, with the gold guy.
I bet I could turn him.
Yeah, well, I've met him. I've been at his house. It's been it was a good time. I think I don't know if he stands in the same way with NFTs that he does with currency, but
Do you think he understands NFTs?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
Let's do it.
I think we'll do that. But anyways, see you in Puerto Rico though.
All right. Appreciate it, brother. Everyone go follow Luke.
Luke Belmar. Yeah. Appreciate you, G.